Ciao ragazzi, I'm going to do a review of the EOS640 Bicycle light. Let's see what you get in the box. You get the light, and it's a big light. The reason I got the light is because it can also be used as a power bank with its 8,000 milliamp hour battery. There are two mounts, and they're adjustable by using the various shims you get in the box, and they'll fit any round bar. So any round handlebars, or if you're going to put on a scooter or something, as long as you got something that's round, this one should fit it. You also get two rubber straps, which I suspect are meant to be put between your handlebar and the mount so the light won't slip when you're riding along somewhere. You also get two screws with an Allen key, a USB-C cable, and some instructions. Boy, these are pretty thorough, aren't they? Well, that's what you get in the box. Let's have a look at the features. Norman, drum roll please. Now I'm going to try the device's power bank feature. I got a couple of devices I'm going to try charging, and we'll see what happens. I got a measuring device and put it in series with the light and the USB cable. I want to measure the voltage and amperage that the light is going to supply whatever I connect to the other end of the USB cable. So first device up is a cycling computer. This is my Garmin 1040. Let's plug it in. The Garmin fires up, and I see the charging icon, which means the light can charge up the cycling computer. Now the voltage coming out is 5 volts, and the amount of current, we got 400 milliamps. Next device, a phone. This is a Samsung 850. I'll hook it up. And the device is showing us it's charging at 5 volts and 380 milliamps, which is not much for a phone. But if you're stuck somewhere, it'll take a while, but at least you can get the phone up and running. Let's try a GoPro. This is a 12, and the reason I got the light. I wanted to use the GoPro without a battery and be able to record longer than a regular GoPro battery can. Let's hook it up, and we can see the voltage is 5 volts, although it's only putting out 300 milliamps, which I think is kind of low for a GoPro. Okay, fire it on, and error message. Your GoPro will power off. Connect to a 5 volt 2 amp power source or higher to use your GoPro without a battery. Okay, GoPros are pretty finicky when it comes to running them without a battery, and you have to have the right power. I don't know if the testing device is limiting the current, so I'm going to take it out and we'll do it again. And nope, same error message. Okay, one more test. Will the light charge the GoPro with a battery in it? Let's try that one. Let's hook it up. And yes, it's charging the battery. Okay, good. Next, I'll start recording and see what happens. Start recording, and the charging stopped. Okay, well that means it's not possible to record longer than a regular GoPro battery while it's connected to the light as a power bank. So, not good. Aren't you glad that I buy this stuff and you don't have to find this out? Now to recap, when it comes to my GoPro camera, the light can only charge it when it's turned off or when it's not recording. The light can charge a cycling computer with ease. A phone, it can charge it, but it's going to take a long time. Now let's get into charging the light. It's real easy. All you need is a USB-C cable. You plug it in, and the light starts charging. You might be wondering how long it takes to charge the light from 0, and that's 5 hours. Now you might be tempted to try supercharging to reduce that time, but this light doesn't support it. You can use any USB-C charger with a maximum charging current of 2 amps. One of the nice little features on this light are the 4 battery indicator lights. They make it easy to figure out how much charge is left in the battery. If you have all 4 on, the battery's fully charged. If you have one light left and it's blinking, well, it's time to charge it again. It's better than what other brands do with a colored light that's under the on-off button. If you see a green light on their device, that can mean the battery has 20 to 100% charge. How are you supposed to tell if you have a full charge or just a little bit of power left? Okay, so I'm going to get set to mount this on my handlebars. And you can see my handlebars are not that wide, and I'll just measure it out. 59 centimeters or 23¼ inches. So handlebars are not that wide. This is a hybrid bike. That's another thing about this light. It's really wide. I did not expect it to be this big. 65 centimeters, which is about 6½ inches wide. Now the thing is, you're relegated to this little track because this is where the mount slides into. You can sort of see it there. It'll slide into here. And this is only 5 11/16 of an inch, or about 44 millimeters. You don't have very much room to play with, is what I'm trying to get at. Let's get on with this exercise and see how easy this is to do. I think with this guy, this is the wide part of the handlebar. So this little shim that's in the center here, I am not going to need. I'll have to go back to the box and get some of those rubber shims. At least it'll stop this aluminum from sliding on aluminum. So here's that rubber shim. I'm hoping this is the right way because there are 0 instructions on how to do this. And I'll push that on there. Not exactly very easy. Let's try that again. Get the rubber strap on. Actually, just start from here. How about that? Get the rubber. That works a bit better. Okay. And just put this through here. Actually, wrong way around, because the light's going to have to sit here. I'm going to have to flip it around. Okay. One more time. Okay, so we're going to pull this around. Okay, so one of them is in. I'm not going to snug it up that much. I got the rubber straps in the right way, so it's underneath. Next thing, let's slide the light in here. There we go. Now it's easy to move back and forth. So if you got a lot of real estate being used up by your cables for brakes and gearing and stuff like that, you're not going to have very much in the way of adjustment. And that brings me to another point. Whenever you read instructions for any lights, I've reviewed quite a few of them right now, not one of them tells you how to aim the light, which I don't understand, because if you put this light at high beam and low beam and you can't aim it properly, and you're riding on a nighttime or something like that, you'll definitely blind the driver coming the other way. Even in the daytime, this thing is extremely powerful. That's why I'm very surprised that not one manufacturer tells you at what angle or which way you're supposed to angle the light. Now, I've had a chance to try out this mounting system for the past couple of weeks, and my experience has not been the greatest. Every time I have to take the light out to charge it, or if I park my bike and I go inside a store and I want to take the light with me, it's a real chore to try and get the light out of the mounting system. And putting the light back in is just as difficult. Now, I don't understand why they chose this mounting system when they know the light is going to have to be taken on and off the bike on a regular basis. They should have thought of something better than this. The light has 4 different modes. There's a low beam, a high beam, a low and high beam, and a flashing mode. Now, the one thing the light doesn't have is a memory. So when you switch the light off and turn it back on, it will not remember the last mode it was in. You have to cycle through all the different modes to find what you want. Can be a bit annoying after a while. Let's have a look at the light specifications. On low beam, the light outputs 2900 lumens for 3.5 hours. At high beam, it puts out 900 lumens for 11.8 hours. Boy, that's a long time. And then with low and high beam on, the light outputs 3250 lumens for 3.5 hours. Now, if you look at that again, something doesn't kind of add up for me anyway. I would have thought with both high and low beam on, the light would have output 3,800 lumens. I mean, that's the logical thing there. The other thing that doesn't make sense is the light is outputting more lumens, and I'd expect it to be using more energy, which should mean the runtime should be less. Instead, the company's claiming that it'll run the same amount of time as the light running at 2,900 lumens, so which is 3.5 hours. We'll have to see what about that. Finally, in flash mode, the dock shows no lumens output, which I don't know why they did that, not sure why, but they claim the light in flash mode is going to run 6 hours. Let's get the light on the bench at the highest output, which in this case is low high beam mode, and see if the actual runtime for this matches what the company says. If you haven't checked out my other reviews, I always put the light on max output to see if it really delivers the runtime that the manufacturer claims in their specs. Here we go. We're at 3.5 hours, and that's what the manufacturer claimed. The light would stay on for 3.5 hours, but it's still going. And at 4 hours and 40 minutes, the light switches off. That exceeds the manufacturer's specification, although I don't know if you noticed it. It's kind of hard and not that obvious. The light was dimming over time. So what I did is I adjusted my camera so that the dimming would be more obvious and shot another clip. All right, so here's the video, and you can start to see the light dim a little bit. And now you're noticing it a little more. And at the 3-hour mark, the light's dimmed down quite a bit. At the 4-hour mark, the drop-off is fairly obvious. That's why I use this camera technique, so you can see that. In reality, the light is a lot brighter than what you see. I set up this shot so you can compare the light over the course of time. You can see when I first turned it on, at the 2-hour mark, and the 3.5-hour mark. If you plan to buy this light, remember one thing. If you expect the brightness to remain the same 3.5 hours later as to when you turned it on, this light's not going to do it for you. Okay, daytime test. We're testing the light as a daytime running light. We're at 10 meters away from the camera. Apologies for the not so glamorous video shoot. We've had a very hot summer, and the rich green grass just dried up and went dormant. So this is what you get. Regardless, let's have a look at the lights. The EOS640, clearly a lot brighter than the RN800, but one caveat with this. That light is crazy, crazy bright. It actually is way too much for a daytime running light. I honestly would not use it as a daytime running light. You will probably blind oncoming drivers, regardless which way you angle this thing. Now at 20 meters, you can see how much brighter the EOS640 is. It's the clear winner. And the other thing that the EOS640 has going for it, the size. And yes, size does matter, especially in this case. The bigger and wider the light, the more likely you are to see it. Okay, let's move on to 30 meters. Now at 30 meters, again, you can see the RN800, but the EOS640, crazy bright. Unbelievable how bright. Just can't stress this enough. This is a very bright light, and I do not think I would want to use it as a commuter light for the daytime. Let's move on. I did 40 meters, but usually the video doesn't turn out that well, but I take the shot anyway while I'm out doing the video shoot, just in case something changes. So here's 40 meters. Now 40 meters, the RN800 is not bad, and the EOS640, boy, that size and that crazy brightness, unbelievable. Actually, I had someone come into the park while I was shooting, and he saw the light about half a kilometer away while he was driving towards the park. It was just something else. He actually also asked me, what am I doing in the park, standing by myself with a light in my hand? What I have to do for YouTube videos, huh? Hate to stop the video. As I was putting it together, I thought about something else with the EOS640. Given in North America, most daytime running lights for bicycles flash, I never thought about testing the high beam mode on this thing, which stays on all the time. Now with the high beam mode, not only do you get a light that stays on steady at 900 lumens, the other thing about that mode is it lasts 11 hours. So let's get out in the field and try the EOS640 high beam mode against the Magic Shine. Thanks for the update from the field reporter. Here we are back in the field again. You might be wondering if I used a different camera for this clip. Nope. It's the same camera with the same settings. I shot this clip at a different location a few weeks later. The weather shifted and the grass turned green again, which really added to the bright color you see in the clip. All right, let's get on to 10 meters. It's hard to tell the difference in brightness between the EOS640 and the RN800, so they pretty well are evenly matched. The only discernible difference is that the RN800 is flashing. So let's take this thing up to 20 meters and see what we get. Now we're at 20 meters, and I'd have to give the edge to the EOS640. It's slightly brighter, but the RN800 is, it's really hard to tell the difference between the two. Here we go at 30 meters, and I'd have to give the edge to the EOS640. If you look at the picture here, it is slightly brighter than the RN800, but not by much. Here we are at 40 meters, and you might notice a bit of flickering in the EOS640. That is not the light. That's actually the production. Not sure what I did with my settings on the camera. I'm going to look into that a bit later. But if you have a look at the video itself, you can see that the brightness is pretty well the same. Okay, let's get on to the nighttime portion of the road test. And this is a little different than what I usually do because the EOS640 doesn't really have a comparable lumens output. All I'm going to do is put it up against the RN800 at full brightness, and you can see the difference. So here we go. This is the EOS640 at low and the RN800 at max brightness. You can see the EOS640 just basically lights up everything. Have a look at the trees down the side. They're all lit up. The road is all lit up. This EOS640 is something else. Let's move on to high beam mode. In this mode, only one of the 5 lights turns on and outputs 900 lumens. Now, if you look at the comparison shots, the RN800 lights up the road nicely, whereas the EOS640's high beam mode is very, very different. It shoots out a circular focus beam aimed way down the road. Now let's move over to the last mode for the EOS640. That's the high and low beam together, and you can see this EOS640 gives you a lot of light. Somewhere in a forest at nighttime or whatever, this would definitely do it for you. But keep in mind that over the course of time, the light does dim. And now here's an overview shot of the EOS640, showing it in low, high, and low and high. We're at the end of the video, so what do I think of this light? It's very, very bright. I mean, crazy bright. This light is great if you're planning to do rides in places that have no light at all. The light washes across a wide area, and it gives you an intense beam. If you're planning to do a long ride, just remember the light dims over time. One of the other things I want to mention is if you're planning to use one of the 3 high output modes while you're riding on the road, the light is so bright, you're probably blind oncoming traffic. But if you do want to use this light for nighttime commuting or as a daytime running light, switch it to the high beam mode at 900 lumens, and that should do you just fine. Let's move on to the build quality. The light's made of rugged aluminum, which also doubles as a heatsink, keeping the light cool. You will notice when you're using higher output modes, the light does get hot. It's also reasonably priced. I think I paid 46 or 47 Canadian dollars. That's not bad for what you're getting here. One of the main features I bought this light for is the power bank feature. It does charge devices. The specifications claim it can charge a 5-volt device with 2 amps. However, as you saw in my testing, the charger wasn't able to keep my GoPro camera going, which required a power input of 5 volts and 2 amps. You might want to think about that if you plan to use the light's power bank feature to charge high current devices. One thing to really take note of is the mounting system. It's not that intuitive, and if you don't have that much space on your handlebars, it can be difficult to mount the light and aim it. The other thing about the mounting system, it makes it difficult to take the light out if you want to charge it or take it with you if you park the bike somewhere. That's one area that could actually use some improvement. Another area for improvement is the on-off switch. It doesn't have a memory. When you turn this light off and turn it back on, you have to cycle through all the modes to find the last one that you used. That gets annoying really fast. Well, that's it for another video. I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.